Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Wahara Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, many blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the house of David, that by after our die, for whom these epistles are written for in these last days. Shalom to the elect. So this is going to be a quick lesson. It's not going to be very long. So let me turn off this. All right. So it's not going to be a long lesson. So I just wanted to go into a quick lesson on this article that came across in RT News, and let's just get into it. So this is from RT News. It says UK newspaper apologizes for slavery links. Right? So like, just want to make sure. It says the Guardian has expressed remorse after research showed its founder had ties to the 19th century slave trade. So we're experiencing prophecy at its highest level, and all this article is not it's not really meant to be anything that's wrong, long or extensive in breakdown of the scripture. It's just a mindset of the world right now, and what the people of the world, especially the Edomites, what they would be saying in these times according to the scriptures. And it fits perfectly within Job 20 and 12, or 20 and 10, Salakia. Okay? But it also highlights that you should never trust your enemy, because there's always a nefarious reason as to why he's doing what he's doing. He ain't doing it because he wants you to feel better or help you. He's doing it because he's setting you up. Because to really tie it all together, when you understand your enemy, matter of fact, let's get this real quick. We always get this, but it's very important that we hammer this into the heads of the elect, okay? The hopeful elect, whoever you may be, wherever you may be. All right? This is Sirach 12 and 10. Please remember this. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, right? Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and if it's like, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So when you go over scriptures like this, when you're dealing with articles like this from the Guardian or from RT News regarding the Guardian, I'm trying to say it. When you're dealing with this, it helps you to have an overall look of what's actually happening before me. Well, we know that the CHIP is getting ready to be pushed, so they need a all-inclusive message that brings everybody together, that has everyone on the same page, quote unquote, so to speak. Okay, so they're going to have to go back over past traumas, because they know that the V to the A to the X, okay, did not work on for the most part on you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Very, very resistant to that message and that method of action, okay? So now they're having to go back, and they have to go crouching, as the scripture says. They have to go crouching, and they have to, bend the knee, so to speak, okay, to mend fences. And they're not just doing it right here in America. They're doing it in the UK too. They're trying to show that they're really all together. We're with you, okay? We're with you. The devil is not for you. He's against you. He always was against you. But you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are gonna fall for this shit. Watch. You just are. You just are, because 2/3 of the nation of Israel are blind spiritually. Okay. So it says, the Scott Trust, the proprietor of UK newspaper, The Guardian, has issued an apology after it was discovered that the publication's founder, John Edward Taylor, as well as the majority of its financial backers, had demonstrable links to transatlantic slavery in the 1800s. Are we surprised? Are you surprised? When you really think about this entire world, the way it's built, it came off the back of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. I'm not surprised by this. But see, when you dig deeper, when you go do it deeper spiritually, what are they trying to do here? What is his end goal with this? He's trying to bring you under his spell. He wants you to buy into his new world order. That's what all this is going back to. He wants you to buy into his new world order. In order for that to happen, he has to appeal to your emotions. So he'll go through his wicked ass history if he has to, okay? He'll go through his wicked ass history and he'll say, "Oh, I apologize. Please forgive me. I did wrong. My ancestors were wrong." Okay? It says the findings of the independently researched Scott Trust independently. Bullshit. It says the findings of the independently researched Scott Trust Legacies of Enslavement report, which they always had the records, man. Now all of a sudden, now they want to apologize. See, you got to ask these questions. Why? But, 2/3 ain't going to do that. It says, which was published on Tuesday, showed that Taylor, as well as at least 9 of the 11 early financiers, which were probably small hats, it says, of the newspaper, had ties to merchant companies which imported significant quantities of raw cotton harvested by slaves in North and South America in the 19th century. So this was a network, y'all. Well, we already knew that, but it's a network. Many of the things that you see over in the UK, all of Europe, hell, even in Russia, Australia, everywhere, a lot of the slaves, built those as well. See, but the point is, I'm not here trying to castigate or castigate these Edomites for their war. We talk about it all the time about slavery or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't the only crime they committed. There's a crime they're getting ready to commit in the future, y'all. That's what I'm getting at. Hey, look, we already know about the crimes of the past. We talk about it often. I'm talking about the crime to come. Okay? The crime to come is going to be you being forced to put that MOTB in your skin, under your skin, in your body, merging it with your basically you trying to take over you, make you a fucking android. That's a crime to come. This lesson is not geared towards him and his nefarious history. He's going to use that nefarious history to his benefit, though. He's going to say, "I'm a changed man." It says, we are facing up to and apologizing for the fact that our founder, and those who funded him, which were the small hats probably, drew their wealth from a practice that was a crime against humanity. Catherine Viner, editor-in-chief of Guardian News and Media, wrote on Tuesday. Viner added that the findings on the report must reinforce the newspaper's commitment to expose racism, injustice, and inequality. The newspaper also expressed its remorse at early editorial positions taken in support of the cotton industry at the time. Look at this. U.S. state proposes $360K per person in slavery reparations. See, because now they're starting to realize that the jig is up. Now we got to move to phase 2, okay? All right, we had the entire earth under hardcore slavery. Then that phase ended. Now we got now we brung everybody to, you know, out of slavery, but we got you in economic slavery. Okay, we got you in you know, in debt slavery. All right. All right, and we had you in religious slavery where you were believing in some type of white God or white Jesus. Now that jig is up. We got to move to phase, well, I said phase 2, but really phase 3. Phase 3 is when the MOTB is getting ready to be pushed. All roads lead to the MOTB. Whether you want to acknowledge this or not, when you read this story, please look at it from that lens. Don't look at it from what they're saying on paper. Fuck that. What they're saying on paper are words. What is the spirit behind it? The spirit behind it says they're trying to lead you towards somewhere. They're pushing you. They're nudging you towards a certain direction. And that direction leads with you obeying the system, the new world order, right? Now, I know how this sounds, but when you understand the motivation of your enemy, when you look at your enemy, when you study, just like they study us, I study them. I study them often. I see their movements. I see the way they think, their slip-ups, their mess-ups. I watch them. Hell, my name's Shamar. It means to watch, to keep guard. I watch these people constantly. Okay? I study them. And these people don't do anything as a group without some calculation made. Even their lies, even when they tell you the truth sometimes, but most of their truths are baked in a whole thing of lies. Okay? When they tell you the truth, it's out of frustration. It ain't out of he ain't trying to get you to a place where you feel better about yourself or do better for yourself. When he tells you the truth, it's out of pure frustration. He's frustrated with you, so he's going to tell you the truth. We tell you the truth because it's the truth. We're not frustrated with you. We know what it is. You're the devil, okay? It says it added that in 1835, Phillips launched a ultimately unsuccessful appeal to the British community. I passed up some. It says the research, which was academics from the universities of Nottingham and Hull, showed that Taylor had conducted business with cotton plantations in South Carolina and Georgia. One of the financial backers, Sir George Phillips, I'm sure he's a small hat, was the co-owner of a sugar plantation in Jamaica. The report also claimed. It also added that in 1835, Phillips launched a ultimately unsuccessful appeal to the British government to claim financial compensation for the loss of 108 people who were referred to as human property. So 108 people died at once, I'm sure. Or if they didn't die at once, they could have been killed by or hanged or, you know, something nefarious that the devil did over here. Because they had insurance. All that insurance and shit goes back to when this period. Okay, a lot of those insurance companies are, especially one of those ones that are older. Okay, they got their start from back then. Okay, a lot of these companies, okay, these banks came off the back. All right, of the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Wall Street, all that shit, man. Tied together, nefarious. So we know this. What is the point of this? Well, the point of this is to build relationships again. They want to build that so-called relationship, quote unquote, with you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. So they can enter you into phase 3, which is the MOTB. That's how you got to think of this. Don't think about, well, yes, you can. You can be pissed off about the slavery and how they did. Yes, that's one aspect of it. But there's you got to understand their wickedness is never ending. You think that's just the past? Nigga, what do they have for you in the future? Right? It says the Scott Trust is deeply sorry for the role for the role John Edward Taylor and his backers, Wu Small Hatters, played in the cotton trade. The group's chair, Old Jacobson, said via the Guardian on Tuesday. We recognize that apologizing and sharing these facts transparently is only the first step in addressing the Guardian's historical links to slavery. The newspaper also revealed that it is to launch a decade-long restorative justice fund, which will support groups associated with slavery in the Americas and Caribbeans. It says the program will also pursue goals of raising awareness of the history of transatlantic slavery, funding further academic research, and expanding the breadth of the newspaper reporting of issues concerning black communities. So, you Judites, especially, hey man, I'm gonna tell y'all brothers and sisters, please listen to me. Those guys, a lot of those guys that you look up to, okay, that that we all listen to, right? We kind of fond of, not in no particular reason, because a lot of us are in the truth. We know better. But a lot of those guys that are pushing for this reparation shit, watch those guys, man. A lot of those guys are playing both sides, man. Because they understand what the reparation talk really means. They understand that that's gonna cause an uproar within the other communities. They're gonna get upset, and then they're gonna see the economic system or situation they're in, and they're gonna be like, fuck it. Okay? And there's talk of reparation. See, this is gonna cause uproars of the people in the world. This is gonna cause a major race riot out here. Okay? It's gonna cause all kind of chaos out of jealousy, pure jealousy, and not even that. You got people in their own black community. These are things that are happening that the Lord has set up right now, man. And it's getting real bad out here. And it's gonna get real bad, real fast. Okay? These people don't care. The elite don't care. They want it to happen. You don't put something out like this unless you want something to pop off. They trying to rile the people up. This is a controlled demolition, okay? Through the Spirit. But only the men of the Lord, the women of the Lord, and the children of the Lord can see it. We can see this coming. We can see where it's going. When that chaos comes, martial law is going to come. Then there's going to be a mending of the fences, and we should all come together and be one people. Woo. And we tell our people, what? Sirach 12:10, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rust of soul is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. That's right. Jump down to 12 or 13. It says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? We ain't gonna pity you. We told you what he's trying to do. We told you that he's gonna come with some type of system. Slacking. We told you he's gonna come with some type of system, all right, to try to snake his way into your warm heart, okay, and play on your emotions. And this is a good way to do it. And he's gonna use money to back up his so-called sincerity. Here's some money. And you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, started with you Judites, you so-called blacks, blacks, or you Judites, okay, you Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, all right, you Southern Kingdom, okay, all right, you going to buy into this because money's attached. So you're going to believe that it's real. And it's not, okay, and it's not. Job 20:10, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. Let's read that again. Job 20:10. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore the goods, or their goods. That's right. And let's look up that word please.
Strong's H 7521. Ratzah. Ratzah.
It says to be pleased with, be favorable to, accept favorably, to be pleased with, to favor to accept. All right, to be pleased, to be determined, to make acceptable, satisfied, to please, to seek favor of. So they're gonna try to seek your favor, man. And what is it leading to? It's leading to you eventually taking the MOTB. Never trust thine enemy. Okay. Job 20:10, it says, his children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. Verse 11, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which, what is that talking about? That's talking about him, his ancestors, okay, doing the wickedness that they did and profiting from it, even to this day. They're not going to stop profiting from that time period. They're going to just say sorry and here's some money. But they're still going to continue to profit from it. The entire system must be destroyed. This is Job 20:11. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. And that's why we say that the entire Edomite system, as you know, starting with Babylon itself, which is America, will be destroyed. Edomite power structures all over the entire earth will be destroyed. That's just a fact. You ain't gotta like it. You ain't gotta respect it. But it will happen. And it's gonna happen in this time period. So I didn't want to make this lesson too long. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemal Shah, Ba'ashem, Muhammad Kakadash, Shalom to the elect.